Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making this place such a great place to live, work, and play. Hope you're having a great day. You know, I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to have Katelyn Perry, Miss Gulf Coast, on just before she was headed to Miss Mississippi. And she went to Miss Mississippi. She did such a great job of representing the Gulf Coast and representing so many young people that she is a role model to. She got in the top 5. And Cammie, the content producer for the show, and I were talking, and we said, we need to get Katelyn back on the show so she can talk about the experience and what she learned, and I can really kind of congratulate her publicly for representing the Gulf Coast so well. So without any further ado, let me invite my friend Katelyn Perry back into the conversation. How you doing, Katelyn?
I am doing great. How about you?
You're doing great. Okay, so let's tell people, when we recorded this show, I had Julie Hines Mavis, who had actually written a book, and the name of the book is Confessions of a Southern Beauty Queen. Mm-hmm. And it's about a story that took place in the 50s and 60s. It's actually not about pageants, but I had the opportunity to introduce Julie to you and brag on you to her and how you've represented coastal Mississippi so well. And the thing that I remember so well about you the last time we talked is that you takes really full responsibility for being a role model to young people, and that's really important to you. And when you went up there, if you look at your social media presence, which was incredible while you were doing Miss Mississippi, you did a great job of just being positive and reinforcing sort of a positive and reassuring approach to the people who you were competing against. You saw them as sisters, not necessarily competitors. Mm-hmm. How was it for you?
It was so much fun. Of course, you always look back and there were things that you wish could have gone a little bit differently. I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't have some moments where I doubted myself or doubted why I was there. There were of course some difficult moments, as there are in everything in life, but looking back on the week as a whole, it was such a good week. Like you said, the girls that I competed with were fantastic, and I've had the pleasure of I've competed 4 times in the organization, for anybody who doesn't know, and the week is always filled with such incredible women, but this particular group of women was so special. I can't even tell you, I've never enjoyed a group of girls so much. We had so much fun. Everybody was so supportive of each other. We laughed, we joked, and I really feel like I left with really, really good relationships. So that's a huge takeaway from the week. When I look back on my experience, that's the first thing that comes to mind, was how much fun we all had together. But yeah, overall, it was a really great week. I had a great finish to the week. I left as 3rd alternate, which was beyond my wildest dreams. So yeah, overall, it was such a good experience.
Well, Katelyn, you think about it, and we talked about this the last time, but for people who maybe didn't hear us talk, the program has really refined over the years. It's very focused on developmental. It's focused on beautiful inside and out. Not that it always wasn't focused in that way, but there's a lot of focus on potential to achieve great things in your life, and it's not necessarily just outward beauty. And so when you go up there, what you're seeing in your competitors is the result of years and years of refinement and development on their part as well. And what you've seen over the 4 years is a system that's gotten better and stronger, and the girls that are coming through it are better and stronger. Mm-hmm. And you can't help but compare yourself to others. That's whether you're in that environment or whether you're in the corporate world, people compare themselves to their competitors, and they wonder, should I be here? That's just a normal part. I think it's cool that you admit that. But it is natural. And that's the thing that makes you continue to raise the bar. You say, oh, man, the qualities in that person, man, I want to emulate that. That is the way she did that just then is so impressive. Or maybe the way she did that over here is not that impressive. I don't ever want to do that ever again. Mm-hmm. But you learn, don't you? I mean, it's a part of the process.
Absolutely. I was talking to my mom about this last night, so it's so funny that you bring that up. But I feel like even in the last 4 years that I've competed, the difference in kind of what's expected expected of us, or kind of how you prepare for the competition has changed so drastically from the first year that I competed to now. Right now, there's a huge emphasis on social media and how you present yourself on social media, but also how you market yourself and market the Miss Mississippi organization and the brand that you're putting out. And we didn't have to worry about social media when I competed 4 years ago. We posted like normal, but it wasn't as in-depth and as like strategized as it is now. You really have to have like a marketing plan in place that you implement throughout your year. And it is hard when there are 30 other women doing the exact same thing. They come up with good ideas and you start to doubt yourself. But I always like to say that comparison is the thief of joy. So you really just have to hone in on what you're doing, what's important to you, and know that you are doing your best, and that's all you can do at the end of the day.
Well, Katelyn, I came from digital media. So I was CEO of a digital media company. Mm-hmm. And I think it's actually an incredibly important added attraction because it forces you to you said it, the brand. What's the Katelyn brand, and how am I going to present that? But more important, it makes you incredibly aware that a slip up in that regard could be something you pay for a long time, because once it's there, it's hard to take it back. You may take it down, but people might have screenshots of it, or it might have been shared somewhere. So, that part of our lives, more young people should pay more attention to how they're presenting themselves, because it could haunt them. That's why I think it actually is a really good added attraction. Is that kind of where you landed?
Oh, absolutely. Social media is such a great thing. I think that you have the ability to tell stories and to connect with other people. But like you said, it can be very dangerous, and it can be it's kind of scary how everything that you put out there never really goes away. So through transfer calls, I have the opportunity to serve as a mentor and a role model and kind of teach these girls that are ambassadors about social media and how to promote what's important to them. But I also like to share with them, the dangers of social media and how they need to be careful, and good ways to highlight what you're doing on social media, but that you also need to be careful because, like you said, it's out there forever.
It's amazing how important it can be. So I didn't see what others were doing, but I can only assess what you were doing. And what you were doing was very positive. And what you were doing was incredibly well communicated. What I've noticed in you over the last couple of years since you've been appearing on my show is that your ability to communicate your message has really improved as it relates to like being on the video and being comfortable and authentic and all of that. You've really honed those skills, haven't you?
Absolutely. I think every time I post something or every time I try something new, it gets better and better. I feel more comfortable. And that's just one of the many skills that I attribute to, this lifestyle of competing in the Miss America organization. It's one of the things that it's taught me. It's really pushed me in that direction, pushed me to create content and to curate a message and to share it with people. And that is something I'll be able to take with me the rest of my life.
It is. I've often said, of course, I came from the business of communication, but I've often said the ability to communicate is one of the most important things you can do. It's interesting. Some of the best CEOs ever didn't have degrees in business. They had degrees in English or something that had to do with writing. And they use their smarts and their ability to communicate to then build knowledge around other things. And once you start to put those things together, they became really, really successful. So I can't say enough about how important that part of it is. In the next segment, we're going to spend another segment with Katelyn, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about how, what goes on at Miss Mississippi. Like, what's the first day like, and what's the second day like, and what's the build up feel like, and what kind of pressures are on you when you're going through that. We'll do that in the next segment. But now that you're back, what's next for you?
I'm just trying to get back into, I guess, what we would consider normal life. Right after I got back from Miss Mississippi, I had a few days at home. I unpacked, I rested a little bit, but then I left for another week-long adventure in Washington, D.C. I worked for a pageant organization, and our 60th anniversary competition was in D.C., so it was kind of like Miss Mississippi week, except I wasn't competing. I was getting up really early every day and in front of a camera and taking pictures and fixing my hair and dressing up and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of felt like I'd extended Miss Mississippi Mississippi week a little bit. So since I've been home, I've just been recovering from all of that and trying to figure out what normal life looks like.
You'll find your stride. There's no doubt about it. You've got great things ahead for yourself. I don't doubt that at all. We're having a conversation with Katelyn Perry. She is the Miss Gulf Coast, and as I mentioned, she's fresh back from Miss Mississippi, where she placed in the top 5. We should be very proud of Katelyn. She represented us very well. When we come back, we'll talk about what goes on at Miss Mississippi. We'll kind of break it down for you a little bit in the next segment. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. Katelyn, I have Katelyn Perry, incidentally, Miss Gulf Coast, who just got back from Miss Mississippi and placed in the top 5, and we're really proud of her. When people think about pageants, they think about pageant moms and these reality shows and all of that. I'm sure there's still a lot out there. But the pageant community has really worked hard to make it a developmental opportunity for young women. And I certainly know that that's the angle that you bring to the table as it relates to that. How much has it changed over the years?
It's changed significantly, even since when I started competing not that long ago. The Miss America organization recently kind of rebranded. They removed the swimsuit portion of the competition, and now they have a much bigger emphasis on personal development and on community service, and just overall really promoting your personal brand and the Miss America organization brand.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Okay, so let's kind of break it all down a little bit. First of all, let's tell people about the Miss Gulf Coast organization. You became Miss Gulf Coast. If someone were interested, who would they contact? Give me a little bit of that, and then we'll move up to the Miss Mississippi pageant.
Yeah, so the Miss Gulf Coast organization is sponsored by the Biloxi Lions Club, and formerly it was the Camellia Queen pageant, which has a very rich history on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It's been around for a very long time. It's something that people probably grew up competing in, or they knew people that competed in it. And now it's evolved into the Miss Gulf Coast organization, and we're able to every year send a Miss Gulf Coast to the Miss Mississippi pageant. So I was so fortunate to get to represent the Mississippi Gulf Coast at Miss Mississippi this year. But we are knee deep in prepping for the Miss Gulf Coast pageant that's going to be coming up very soon. It's going to be in September this year. The local director, her name is Jay Bryce, and she is a fantastic, she's been such a fantastic mentor to me, and she's been my biggest cheerleader. And I know that whoever is crowned the new Miss Gulf Coast is going to just love her as much as I did. They're so fortunate to have her in their corner. But if they're interested in competing, I would love to talk to anybody who has questions about the competition, or if they're interested in getting involved, they can email me. My email is Miss, MISS, Gulf Coast, MAO, which stands for Miss America Organization, at gmail.com. They can email me. I can send them all the information on the upcoming Miss Gulf Coast competition, answer any questions, but we would love to have them compete.
That's awesome. And I've had Jay on the phone before, on the show before, and she represents herself well and has been a dedicated volunteer in this area for many, many years, and really believes in it, and really believes in the positive impact it has on young women. Okay, so you go up to Miss Mississippi. Mm-hmm. What's it like? Let's take it kind of like day by day.
Let's see. So I went up on Friday night. Friday was a really great opportunity for me to just kind of relax. I watched Netflix, I ate dinner in bed, and I just got as much sleep as possible that night. But I'm also very type A, so I also went through all of my stuff to make sure everything was in the right spot, and I knew where everything was. But besides that, it was just a really great opportunity to just kind of rest and take in what's about to happen. Saturday morning, I had to be up very early. We had a service project. It was the first ever Miss Mississippi Day of Service, and it was hosted by our First Lady of Mississippi, Ely Reeves. So all the candidates got together with the board and volunteers from all around Vicksburg, and the First Lady was there, and we did a cleanup day in Vicksburg. And this was really cool. This was the first time we've done this, but the city of Vicksburg really rolls out the red carpet for the Miss Mississippi competition. It's been held there for over 60 years. They love having us and our families there. They treat us like royalty. So it was really cool to start off the week giving back to the city of Vicksburg that does so much for us throughout that week. So that was really cool. We did that Saturday morning. It was so hot, but it was so much fun. We all loved it so much. I hope that's something that we're able to continue. And then Saturday night, we had a bell and bow crowning. So while I'm at Miss Mississippi Week, I have three, we call them our bells and bows, and they're it's just kind of like a mentorship program that the Miss Mississippi competition has. So my little brother, Evan, was my belle. And then two of my really good friends were also there with me. They were my belles. One of Sanaya Jordan, and she's from the coast. She's been on the show with us actually before. And then Aubrey Hudson, who's from Philadelphia. And I've literally watched her grow up her entire life. So it's really cool to get to have all three of them there with me that week and just get to mentor to them and share the week with them. So that night I officially crowned them, and we got to celebrate that a little bit. And then again, I rested Saturday night as much as possible, and I had a 4 a.m. wake up call on Sunday and got ready for what is our official day of arrival. So I filled out a bunch of paperwork. I met with my hostess for the week for the first time. I told my mom bye. I wouldn't see her again for a few more days. We moved all of my stuff in. We had meetings and media, and then after that, it's just a lot of rehearsal time, getting ready for the show. We saw the stage for the first time. And then after that, the week just is kind of full force. Monday night, we have the Miss Mississippi Parade, which is a historic event that they've had in Vicksburg for so many years. But we get to ride through downtown Vicksburg, see our families. There's an autograph party afterwards that the Mulberry Hotel was fortunate enough to hold for us. Tuesday morning, I had my private interview. Wednesday, I competed in onstage question, and I did a 30-second pitch about my social impact initiative. Children's Miracle Network. Thursday night, I had talent. Friday night, evening gown competition. And then Saturday was the final telecast that was broadcast. And in between all that is just lots and lots of rehearsals.
You know how when you take a final exam, people say,
yes,
study hard.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to take the test, just know you've done your best. Mm-hmm. And don't try to cram at the last minute. If you've studied and prepared, then it's time to go just take the exam and do your best. Is that what it's like for you?
Absolutely. And that was something that I had to learn the hard way. So there were years where I like to say that they were just my fun years. I was trying to just get my feet wet and kind of see what it was about and kind of get the gist of the competition, but mainly was just there to have fun. And I would always leave and say, like, I wish I would have just prepped a little bit more in this area, or I wish I would have done this just a little bit different. So my goal going into this year was to just be so confident in every area of the competition. So I started prep so much earlier. I really implemented it into my daily life. I had scheduled times where I would practice or go over something. That way, when I got there, I knew that I could just press play, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. And I really felt that week. I was so excited to walk into my private interview on Tuesday morning. I wasn't feeling like I was cramming information in, or I wasn't nervous, because I knew that I'd prepared to the very best of my ability. And that is the best thing that I could have ever done for myself.
Interview is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Interviews where some big impressions are made right off the bat. So for you to have made it in the top 5, you must have come out of your interview thinking that went pretty well.
I did. I came out and I just remember I had this big smile on my face, because there was no part of the interview that I wish I would have done something different. I felt like I really did the best I could have done with my interview. But also, this is so funny, I haven't talked to anybody about this. I kind of felt like they hated me at first or something. It was such a good interview. They were so friendly. They were the friendliest judges panel that I've ever encountered. We laughed the entire time, but it was not at all what I expected or I prepared for. It was so, we call it fluff questions. It was just about me and about things that I like and my personality and my likes and dislikes. And I was ready to be grilled. I told my mom that morning, I'm ready to be cross-examined. Let's do it. And then it was just the polar opposite of that. So I was thinking oh my gosh, they hate me. They're not taking me seriously. They don't think that I'm a real competitor. They're not even wasting their time asking me these tough questions because I've already made some kind of impression that they don't like. So I walked out and I was happy because it went well with what I was given, but also I didn't feel like it was a Miss Mississippi top 5 kind of interview, but apparently it was.
Well, see, that's that type A personality, Katelyn. Mm-hmm. You are your own worst critic. You're overanalyzing things. I'm the same way. And, that quality, if you don't wrestle it to the ground, will limit you from having fun sometimes because you're a little bit too serious about things. But at the same time, it's those qualities will help you be successful in your life. There's no question about that. But yeah, you probably were expecting a question about Ukraine or, social media's, challenges, in America today or something like that, something current event and heavy duty. You probably were ready to answer any question like that, weren't you?
Absolutely. And I think that was kind of what felt, I hate to say disappointing because you don't want to say that you were disappointed with an interview that went so well, but it was in a sense kind of disappointing because I'd spent so much time preparing for that. But when I look back on it now, I would not have done anything differently because I walked into the interview in such a good headspace because I knew I was ready for that. Even though I didn't put any of those skills to use, I was in such a calm state of mind because I knew I could handle anything.
Listen, it's been a pleasure to catch back up with you, Katelyn. It's going to be so much fun to watch where your life takes you. All these things you've done to prepare yourself, to build your confidence, to really center in on what your brand in life is going to be. It's going to be fun because I think you're going to do great things in your life. You're going to make a big impact. So thanks for joining me on Coast Vue, and congratulations on your accomplishments. And stay in touch.
Thank you so much. I always love being here. Can't thank you enough for all the support and being in my corner so much the last few weeks.
It's been my pleasure. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk to Linda Hornsby about the hotel motel situation these days. We'll see you after this break.